Welcome. Today we're going to go over lessons 49 through 52. How did your child do with adding 9 to a number? I'm sure for some of you they caught on pretty quick. For others of you, they may have been a little bit of a struggle. It's okay, because guess what? We're going to keep working on that this week along with some new strategies. So let's go find out what materials are needed and we'll get started. You're going to need your abacus, the dry erase board, the worksheets, the abacus tiles, the math card game book, along with the basic number card deck, and out of the multiplication deck, you're going to need the multiples of 6, 7, 8s, and 9s. You need the place value cards and the base 10 picture cards. These are new. We'll talk more about those when we get to the lesson. Lesson 49, adding 8 to a number. This is very similar to what they did in lesson 48 when they added 9 to a number. This time we're going to add 8 to a number. So let me show you. All right, so we're going to add 8 and 7. And again, we're going to ask the child, what do we need to do to make 8 a 10? We're going to have to add the 2. To keep the equation equal, we're going to have to take 2 away from the other number. We do this at the same time. We can see that 8 plus 7 is 15. Same thing with adding 8s in the higher decades. So we have 2, 10, 8 plus 4. So we'll ask the child, what do we need to do to turn the 8 into a 10? Well, we're going to have to add these 2 beads. Remember, to keep the equation equal, we're going to have to take 2 away from the other number. Do it at the same time, and we can see that 28 plus 4 is 32. Now, there is a correction in this lesson. You could go to the website and look it up. I can just tell you right now. And this is for anyone who has a book that was printed before January of 2020. If you look on the second page, right above the abacuses, the last figures of the abacus where it says adding 25 plus 8, right above it, it says next write 28 plus 5. Some of your books may say 15 plus 8. That is a misprint. So if yours says 15 plus 8, you need to change it. It should say 25 plus 8. As you notice at the bottom for worksheet 17, they have quite a few problems that they get to work through. Let them use the abacus, and don't be surprised if you may have to step them through it. Remember, don't tell them what to do. Ask them questions to let them figure out what they need to do. Lesson 50. Nifty 50s, I say. Some of you have a few years before you get there, but just know it'll be good. Anyway, this lesson 50 is the 2-5 strategy practice. We've been practicing the making 10 strategy by adding 8 and 9 to a number. And today we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to go back and review the 2-5 strategy and using that with double digits also. All right, so we're going to work on the 2-5 strategy in the higher decades. You're going to write 27 or 2, 10, 7 plus 6 on your marker board. So then you're going to ask your child how many 10s do they see. They should see 3. You have the first 2 here, 10 and 10, and then our 2 5s to make 10. So we have 3 10s, and then what do we have? The 3. I'll just separate this to make it a little easier to see. 1 10, 2 10, 3 10s, 3. I find in my experience that this strategy just seems to be a little bit harder for many children to grasp. If your child does not have problems with this, that's awesome. If your child does, that's okay. Don't be surprised. I think more children than not, this is not one of the most favorite of strategies. It's a really good strategy, but it does take some thinking. Let them use that abacus. And I like also, if you look on the second page, it's kind of fun that as they get their answers, they're going to mark out spots on that chart, and it will make a design. And so they don't know what that design is going to be until it's all complete. So it makes it a little bit more fun having to do those problems. There's also a game suggested in here called Short Chain Solitaire. I want to take a few minutes and talk about this game because it's a really cool game, although it may take a little bit of time to get it set up and to teach it to your child. So just know and make sure you have that extra time, because between that and them doing the worksheet, it can make for a longer day of math. So you may have them do the worksheet and then plan on doing this game at another time. So for Short Chain Solitaire, you're going to start off with providing these 2 rows of numbers for your child. So you're going to write those on a piece of paper, 1, 3, 9, and 7, and then underneath 8, 4, 2, and 1 and 6. In this game alone, your child will work on 97 of the 100 addition facts. Notice we don't have any zeros in this game, nor do we have any 5s. So those are the only addition facts they won't be working on. This is a game that can be played solitaire. However, like I said, it's going to take a few minutes or a little bit of time to set it up and help your child to understand it. So what's cool is that the reason it's called Short Chain Solitaire is because these make chains. So if you go down, 1 plus 8 is 9. 8 plus 9 is 17. Notice we don't have the tens accounted for. So we're going to disregard the tens place in this game. And again, you come in, 7 plus 6 is 13. We're disregarding the tens place. 6 plus 3 is 9. 3 plus 9 is 12. 9 plus 2 is 11. You know you've come to the end of your chain when the number at the end is the same as the number you started with. 3 and 3, 9 and 9, 7 and 7. Now, what makes this so cool? What's 2 plus 1? 3. So the chain repeats up here. What's 6 plus 3? 9. What's 8 plus 9? 17. What's 4 plus 7? 11. How cool is that? I'm telling you, this is a really fun game. When it's played well and it's played correctly, you can win probably about 3/4 of the time. A lot of it is the luck of the draw. One of the things it asks you to do, it'll give you specific cards that you have to play with, like so many 1s, so many 2s, so many 3s. You're going to get that out. You'll shuffle them together. So you're going to lay out the cards in fans of 3. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can lay them out in fans of 4. But I suggest for the first time playing this to do fans of 3. You could only use the top card. Now, if you get to a spot where there's no moves you can make, the child can pick up all the fans, shuffle them together, lay them back out into fans, and then continue playing. So this is a great game. Lots of practice on their addition facts, needing to use strategy, determining where they want to put their cards, but they do need to build these top 2 rows. Now, you could either play it where they lay all their cards out in fans, and then they have to pick the cards from the top of the fans to make the 1, the 3, the 9, the 7. You may want to lay out the cards, the 1 and the 8, 3 and the 4, the 9 and the 2, and the 7 and the 6 already for your child, and then let them take the rest of the cards and turn them into their fans and then play off of that. You know your child. If your child needs the challenge, let them do all of it from the fans. And if you have a child that isn't quite ready yet for that challenge, then you set up the cards and then they can play from there. And the beauty of the short chain solitaire game is it's a solitaire game. That's one of those games, once your child knows how to play, they can go and play by themselves. Although we know it's fun to play games with our kids, but it's also nice when there are games they could play without our help, right? Lesson 51, adding 8s and 9s practice. So this lesson, that's all it is. It's just practice working with adding 8s and 9s. That's it. Let them use the abacus as they need it. Notice on the worksheet, again, they're going to have a pattern that will be created once they complete the worksheet. As they get the correct answers, it will make a pattern. There is a different game for this one. It's called mental addition game. This is where you're going to need the multiples of 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s. So you can get those out of the multiplication deck. So like I store my multiplication cards separated in their envelopes. So that means I'll go and get the 9s out of the 9s envelope and the 8s and the 7s and the 6s. You may not store yours in the envelopes, that's okay. I think it's maybe, if it's possible, it'd be nice to have 2 decks of multiplication cards. One that you store in here for specific work, and then one that you can keep separate so you don't have to keep separating these after they've all been shuffled together. So just a thought there you may want to consider. On the mental addition game, you're really going to use your basic number deck along with those multiples of the 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s. You're going to lay down a multiplication card and one of the basic number cards. Then this child is going to have to take cards that are in their hands and see if they can put the answer down. So let's just say, we'll make it easy. You lay down a 25 card and then a 5 of the basic number deck. So the answer is 30. Well, the cards that the child's holding in their hands are going to be numbers like 0 through 9. So they're going to have to lay down a 3 and then lay down a 0 for the correct answer, and then they'll collect the cards. If they don't have a card for that row or for that problem, then they could flip another card over and start a new row. Now, one of the things I did with my granddaughter, because she still struggles a little bit with adding the 8s and 9s. It still has not really clicked for her yet what she's doing without using the abacus. So what I did is I took the numbers in the 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s, the multiples. I pulled those out, shuffled them together, and then I shuffled a bunch of 8s and 9s together. And so she would flip one of the multiplication cards over, and then she would flip a basic card over, and it would either be an 8 or a 9. And then she would have to practice adding those numbers together. When I played this made-up game with my granddaughter, she happened to have one of her friends over. So all 3 of us were playing, and it was really good because seeing certain numbers over and over was helping to reinforce in her mind what she needed to be doing. And so I saw her referring a little bit less to the abacus. Now, she still hasn't been able to do it totally without the abacus with the 8s, but she's gotten a lot better with not needing to use the abacus when adding 9 to a number. So be persistent, encourage your children to use the abacus if they need it. It's okay. And just know that the more practice, the less they're going to need to use the abacus. Until one day it just clicks and it's like, oh, the sky's open, the sun shines, everybody sings, we're so happy because they finally got it. Some children just take a lot longer to finally get it. Last lesson of this week, lesson 52. thousands. This is where we're going to use the base 10 picture cards. So let me grab them. As you see, I have them in their handy dandy container that I could get through Right Start. I've seen this, people make something to hold them out of Legos. I've seen people who came up with the dimensions where you can buy the pattern and then go have it built yourself if you could find someone who makes things with a 3D printer. You don't need this, but it does make it nice to hold things and keep them contained. So if you notice, this is like a row on the abacus. You have the 5 that are colored dark and the 5 that are light. This would be like 100 on the abacus. And then this would be like 10 abacuses. So 10 100s, which is 1,000. Yep. In this lesson, you're also going to use the abacus tiles. So this is just looks like the abacus, and this way when we're working in the hundreds, you don't have to have a whole bunch of actual abacuses. This just makes it easier. You're also going to use your place value cards, and they're going to see how this is 10 hundreds, 10 hundred. Remember how we enunciate. We can also say it as 1,000. And again, these are one of those things that's a little awkward, but if you do it for a little bit at the first, it helps children to solidify how many places. So 1,000 or 10,100. And notice what it says in the explanation, how when we pronounce the 1,000 the way we're doing it, it really is phonetically incorrect, but it's the best we can do to give that 3 sounds because we need 3 spaces. So today's lesson is just focusing on the 1,000 base 10 picture card. Look at what it says in the explanation, that noting the number of digits following the leftmost digits in a number is a more accurate determination of place value. So for example, 2,700, I'm going to write it. I'm more of a visual person. It might be helpful for you guys. 2,700, instead of counting the spots, you know the 2 digits is for 100. This is 100. So 2,700. Of course, you could say 2,700. So you could say it either way, 2,700 or 2,700. But seeing these places helps with place value rather than counting. Oh, there's 4 spots, it must be 1,000. No, you don't need to do that. So at the bottom, when you're working with the place value cards, just like on the abacus, when we turn the abacus on its side and we're entering numbers and we do them by 2s, we want to do the same thing, even if we're laying out the abacus tiles or our base 10 picture cards. We want to do it in 2s. As it says, grouping in 2s is important for quick recognition. And it also parallels how quantities will be entered on the side 2 of the abacus, because we're getting up to a point, we're getting really close to where we're going to start adding 4-digit numbers on the abacus. So that's kind of what we're preparing the kids for right now. We're done. We got another week under our belt. I hope you feel prepared and ready to go forth and conquer. And remember, that game, the short change solitaire game, I would really seriously consider possibly making that your 5th day activity. It's an awesome game. It's great to learn, but it does take a little bit of time. And notice this week also, lots of practice working with our 8s, our 9s, the 2, 5. Again, let them use the abacus as needed. I just want to take a second to just extend a thank you to those of you that have sent in emails letting me know that these videos have been helpful. It makes me feel encouraged also. So while these videos are encouraging you, your feedback encourages me, and I'm glad to know that it's helping. Anytime you need to contact me, you can contact me at debbie@rightstartmath.com. You can send emails letting me know how this is going, letting me know if I need to do anything differently or if there's something you have questions on. Whatever you want to contact me, go ahead and contact me. I'd be more than happy to talk with you. Join me next week as we go over lessons 53 through 58. Until then.